It began with a dream, or so I thought. I had recently moved into a quiet countryside house in Maine. It was the kind of place that looked too peaceful to ever have a dark history, a house where every creak was just old wood and every shadow was just poor lighting. I took the lease without a second thought. I wanted solitude, and this house offered that in abundance. On my third night, the nightmare started. I found myself standing in a long, narrow hallway that didn't belong to the house. The walls were a dull gray, and the air was unnaturally cold. Along the hallway were several doors, identical in shape and size except for one at the end. This door was blue. Faded blue. The kind of blue that felt wrong. My feet moved on their own, pulling me toward it. The closer I got, the more intense a low hum in the air became. It vibrated in my ears, in my chest, like something was trying to speak without words. Then the door opened on its own. Inside was a room shrouded in darkness, but just before I could step in, I woke up, sweating, heart racing, my body ice cold despite the summer heat. I brushed it off. Everyone gets strange dreams in a new place. But the nightmare returned the next night. This time I opened the door. The room inside was empty, except for a wooden chair in the center and a broken mirror leaning against the far wall. My reflection looked wrong. It was me, but it blinked out of sync, tilted its head at unnatural angles, and grinned even though I wasn't smiling. I gasped and woke up again, convinced now that something wasn't right. The third night was worse. I didn't want to sleep, but exhaustion claimed me. The hallway appeared again. The blue door was ajar this time. And there, on the chair, sat a figure with long black hair hanging over its face. The mirror was gone, but the walls bled with shadowy streaks, almost like smoke or something alive. I tried to back away, but my feet wouldn't move. The figure lifted its head. Its eyes were hollow. Not black, not empty, but hollow, like something had scooped out the soul and left a shell. It opened its mouth, but no sound came. Just that same low hum. It vibrated through me, filling me with a dread I couldn't explain. When I woke up, I wasn't in my bed. I was in the hallway. In real life. The floor was cold hardwood. The blue door was at the end. Only this time I wasn't dreaming. I didn't know how I got there. The hallway was identical to the one in my dreams, same dim lighting, same faded wallpaper peeling at the edges, and the same suffocating stillness in the air. But this was real. I could feel the cold bite of the wooden floor against my skin, smell the mildew trapped in the walls, and hear the faint humming again, low and vibrating like it lived beneath the floorboards. I stood slowly, heart pounding so violently it felt like it might tear through my chest. The blue door stood at the end, cracked open just enough to tease what lay beyond. It didn't make sense. My house didn't have this hallway. But my instincts were screaming now, not to run but to not blink, not look away, not breathe too loudly. Something was watching. I turned, hoping this nightmare had an exit, but the hallway was endless behind me. Shadows stretched unnaturally long along the floor. There was no door to my room, no windows, no light switch, only that blue door waiting. I don't know why I walked toward it. Maybe I wanted answers. Maybe I wanted to believe I was still asleep. But something pulled me, something ancient and cold and hungry. Inside the room, the chair remained in the center, but the figure was gone. Instead, in the corner of the room, where the shadows converged like spilled ink, stood a woman. Her skin was pale, almost translucent. Her dress clung to her like wet cloth, stained and tattered. And her face, it was blurred as if someone had smudged her features with ash and sorrow. Only her eyes were clear, wide, haunting, and locked on me. She didn't speak. She didn't move. She only stared as if waiting for me to recognize her. Then, without warning, the door slammed shut behind me. I spun around, heart racing. My breath fogged the air now. It was freezing. I turned back to the corner, but she was gone. I wasn't alone. From behind me came slow, dragging footsteps. I turned sharply, but no one was there. The sound circled me, one step, then two, then silence. My body froze. I could feel breath on the back of my neck. Warm. Wrong. Then she whispered. Just one word. Remember. I screamed. My legs finally obeyed and I crashed against the door, yanking it open with trembling hands. The hallway was gone. I was back in my room. Morning light spilled through the window. The birds were singing. My body ached from where I had fallen beside my bed. No hallway. No door. No woman. I thought I was free. But that night, when I checked my reflection in the mirror, something had changed. Behind my shoulder, in the reflection, stood the blurred-faced woman, staring, closer now. Closer than ever before. I stopped sleeping. After that night, I did everything to avoid drifting off. Black coffee, ice water, anything to keep me awake. But exhaustion claws at the mind like rot, and eventually sleep wins. When it did, I found myself back in that hallway. But this time I wasn't walking. I was being pulled. Dragged forward by something I couldn't see. My hands scraped across the wooden floor, my nails splitting as they caught against splinters. The humming returned, louder than ever, no longer a whisper but a chorus of voices all speaking over one another, layered in agony and memory. I recognized something familiar in the hum, but it was twisted, like hearing your own voice on tape and realizing it doesn't sound like you at all. The blue door opened. I wasn't ready. Inside, the room had changed again. The chair was gone. The mirror was back, only now it was whole. Its frame was etched with symbols I didn't understand. Reflected within it was not the room but a forest, dark and swaying. Behind the trees stood the woman. She didn't move. She only pointed to something on the ground. I looked down. A name was carved into the floorboards beneath me, Lena. The moment I saw it, the humming stopped. Silence flooded the room like a vacuum. I said the name aloud. The mirror cracked. And then I woke up again, screaming. This time the scream wasn't mine. It came from outside. I raced to the front porch and flung open the door. There was no one there. But in the distance, near the woods bordering the property, I saw movement. A girl. Pale dress. Barefoot. Standing still in the trees just like in the mirror. She raised her arm and pointed toward my house. I slammed the door shut and locked it. Then the lights went out. All of them. I stumbled through the darkness, trying to breathe, trying not to panic. That's when the hallway appeared again, not in my dream but inside my home. Where the guest bedroom used to be, the door was now blue. I didn't go near it. Instead, I grabbed my phone, shaking as I scrolled through news archives. I searched for keywords: girl, Lena, missing, woods, Maine. After a few minutes, something came up. Lena Dawson. Disappeared from her family's farmhouse in 1987. No signs of forced entry. No remains ever found. Locals whispered about her haunting the forest, about how her cries could still be heard on windless nights. The article included a photo. It was her. The blurred face. The pale dress. The eyes that stared like they could see past your skin. It wasn't a dream anymore. Lena had found her way back. And she was using me to remember. The days blurred after that. Every time I closed my eyes, Lena was there, closer, clearer, more real than ever. She no longer stood in corners or behind mirrors. Now she walked through my house as if it belonged to her, her bare feet leaving no trace but her presence poisoning the air. The blue door never left. Even during the day it was there, impossibly so, mocking the laws of reality. I avoided it, boarded it shut, sealed it with nails and chains. But every night I'd wake to find it wide open, humming softly. Lena was calling me. I decided to confront her, not out of bravery but desperation. The line between sleep and waking life was gone. I couldn't eat. I couldn't think. I was no longer living in this house. I was trapped in it. The final push came when I found a note on my kitchen table. Yellowed paper. Cursive handwriting. I didn't own a typewriter, nor did I write like this. It said, "She remembers. But do you?" The lights flickered. The walls groaned. I opened the blue door. The hallway greeted me like a breath of cold death. I stepped inside, expecting the room at the end, but the space had changed again. It stretched longer. The wallpaper was now stained with handprints, dozens of them, smeared in something dark and sticky. The humming had stopped. Replaced by something worse. Children's laughter. Distant. Hollow. Wrong. The room no longer had walls. Just endless floor and that same broken mirror, now suspended in midair, spinning slowly. Beneath it lay something I hadn't seen before, a trapdoor. Wooden. Ancient. Iron ring in the center. Lena stood beside it, her face no longer blurred. She looked like a little girl no older than 10. Her lips didn't move but her voice filled my head. "You forgot." I knelt down, staring at the trapdoor. My fingers trembled as I lifted it. A foul wind rushed upward, thick with rot and earth and blood. A wooden staircase spiraled down into the dark. At the bottom I saw them. Bones. Hundreds of them. Tiny. Children's bones. Lena stepped beside me, her voice a whisper now. "They screamed for you. You closed the door." I recoiled. I never... But flashes hit me then like shards of glass slicing through my brain. The storm. A barn. Screaming. Children. A blue door slamming shut. My hands, bloody. A voice saying, "Don't tell. Never tell." My vision spun. I dropped the trapdoor. It slammed shut. Lena stared, her eyes filled with sorrow and rage. "You left us." And in that moment I understood. These weren't dreams. They were memories, twisted, buried, and clawing their way back. And Lena wasn't haunting me. She was dragging me back to the truth. I collapsed beside the trapdoor, gasping as the weight of memory crashed through me. The echoes in my mind refused to fade, screams, fire, the thundering beat of panicked hearts behind a locked door. I was just a child then. The truth unraveled in fragments. The farmhouse had once belonged to my grandparents, distant people I barely remembered. One summer my parents had left me there, just for a week. There were other children too. Foster kids. Quiet. Tired-eyed. Lena was one of them. I remembered the basement. A place we were told never to go. But curiosity is stronger than fear in children. We'd crept down. Found the room. The blue door. A strange ritual being carried out by my grandfather. Dark symbols on the floor. A circle of salt. Candles that bled instead of burned. I hadn't understood then. But I understood now. Something had gone wrong. The summoning had cracked reality. Shadows emerged. Children screamed. My grandfather fled. The adults locked the door. And I had done nothing. I had watched. Lena was the last to beg me. Please, she'd whispered, fingers pushing through the crack in the door. Don't forget me. But I had. Time warped. Pain reshaped itself into dreams. My mind had buried it so deeply that it became fiction. Nightmares. Until now. I looked at Lena. She wasn't just a ghost, she was a tether to that night. A soul left behind. And in this twisted realm between memory and reality, she held the power. I'm sorry, I whispered. I was afraid. I didn't know what to do. Her eyes softened for a moment. She stepped aside. The trapdoor opened on its own. Below, the staircase was alight now, lit by flickering flames that formed a circle. The bones were gone. In their place stood the children, whole again, eyes wide with sorrow. They watched me descend. I stepped into the circle. Lena followed. I can't change what happened, I said. But if you need me, to stay to suffer, I will. The flames surged higher. The children began to fade, one by one, each nodding slowly, like a burden was finally being lifted. All except Lena. She remained. She approached me and pressed something into my hand, a small, rusted locket. I opened it. Inside was a photo. All of us. That long-forgotten summer. Smiling. She looked up at me, her voice barely audible. Now, remember. The blue door exploded in light. I woke up on the floor of my bedroom. Morning. Sunlight streaming in. The hallway, gone. The blue door, gone. My phone buzzed with missed calls. Emails. The world was moving forward. But something had changed. Every night since, I see the locket on my nightstand. I never placed it there. It returns no matter where I hide it. And sometimes, in mirrors, I still catch a glimpse of Lena. Not watching me anymore, but walking away. I think she's finally free. But me? I still hear humming in the walls when the house is quiet. And I wonder, what happens when another door opens?